Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Yeah, and we're back and we're live. Good evening. I'm your host, Ed McQueen. Of course, my co-host, Miss April D. Garner. So it's a month of a lot of things that are happening in April. Of course, this is Breast Cancer Month, right? So we're trying to, or we would like to. Well, first of all, it's backed by popular demand. Okay. Last week we had a very informative program on insurance, and this week we couldn't get all the last week, so this week, because of the request for coming in, we decided to. And they acquiesced, or they were receptive about it. She was receptive about it. Decided to bring it back and talk about what was missing last week. Okay, so we're talking about none other than Miss Marlene Woodyard. She is our guest again this week. Again, like I said, by popular demand, and she's more than willing to give us all the information that we are kind of left off with last week, and some of the questions that could not have been asked. So, but to our viewers, our comments on the side of your screen should give you that option to type in what issues you want her to address. Okay, so welcome to the program, Ms. Woodyard.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. And, the information that you, I like to use the word, propagated to us last week was very powerful, and powerful in the form that, there are a lot of, again, like I mentioned last week, that certain, or many people, it's not to say certain income groups, but many people who are above low income even are not informed about, and that includes the elderly, not informed about the different options and the new revelation that have come about regarding Medicare and Medicaid. And correct me if I'm wrong on these two. I think sometimes we used to get them mixed up, but. You may not need to introduce yourself since you were last week, but if you'd like, you can start by giving us your little brief background, a few seconds on how you've been in the business and what propelled you here for that type of work. So it's on you.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm Woodyard Insurance Group. I'm Marlene Woodyard, and right. I started in the business about 17 years ago, and I've been in Conway now since 2017. Opened my agency here in Conway, 1311 13th Avenue in Conway, so right off of Church Street here. And primarily, I do this to service my my senior population, mainly. That is the main demographics of people that I focus on, which basically means that it's time for Medicare. Medicare has a lot of moving parts, and some people may not be aware. And I just wanted to make sure that people understood their options and people received the education that they needed so that they could make good healthcare decisions. I felt it was really important, and every day, just being in the space that I'm in, and realizing the questions that people have, or the concerns that they have, some of the mistakes that they're making, the things that they don't realize that they could have in place, it becomes more and more real to me that what I'm doing is extremely important to be able to service my clientele in this capacity. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to to be able to provide the information and the education that I'm able to do.
Okay, well, thank you for that little background, and uh, I'm sure the value of that has been absorbed by most of our viewers, I believe. So they can propel them to make good comments
Yeah, yeah.
if they choose to do so. You know, I mentioned as I was bringing you on about the different income groups. Um, so let me kind of go back to some questions that I probably didn't ask last week, and one of them was how does the additional support for low income people factor into Medicare coverage
Yeah,
decisions? Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna scroll. All right. So basically, there is programs that some people may not be aware of. Anyone that has Medicare can get Medicare prescription drug coverage, but some people that have limited income can actually qualify for additional stuff. I mean, they're paying a Part B premium. They're paying annual deductibles. They're paying prescription co-pays and so forth. And there are programs. Social Security has a program that basically provides low-income people with additional help that may be able to pay their prescription drug, co-pays, depending on what level of low income they fall under. They may be able to get extra help with even their monthly premium for their Part B and so forth. So, recognizing that these extra health options are out there, becomes kind of important to your bottom line when you're on a fixed income.
Okay. Um, you know, here's something basic that I've heard this question a lot, and that is, including myself, the difference between Medicare and Medicaid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Medicare, I mean, you want to look at it like this, the simple way that I explain it, Medicare, it ends with care. That is the health care that's been put in place for people 65 or older, people with certain disabilities, people that have maybe end-stage renal, ALS, those kinds of things,
Right.
kidney failure, and so forth. So that's Medicare that was put in place. Medicaid is aid, right? It's assistance. So if you qualify, it's a government program. It's state specific as far as the qualifications, the income levels and the resource levels and so forth. But yeah, Medicare and Medicaid kind of defines itself if you kind of understand that one gives care and one gives aid.
That was a simple explanation. I think most people can grasp that. That was explained very well. Okay, and I never noticed it at the end of the medic, whatever was that was yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was key. That was key there.
Yeah. And you're along with a lot of people, you mistake it. I get a lot of people come in here and say, I want to sign for a Medicaid, that kind of thing. But yeah, there is a difference,
So my understanding is that there's an upcoming enrollment um, era, or just the enrollment has begun.
That's right. That's right. Medicare basically has an annual enrollment period, which is October 15th through December 7th of every year. And during that time, people with Medicare can review features of Medicare plans offered in their area and make changes to their Medicare coverage, which would go into effect on January 1st of the upcoming year.
So in the period the open enrollment period ends when?
It's open enrollment is annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th
Okay.
for Medicare.
Okay. 7. Um,
Now there is another opportunity when people sign up, change their plans or
right.
make a decision if they have enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan. Not only do they have October 15th through December 7th to kind of evaluate those plans, but come January 1st through March 31st is what's known as open enrollment, where they can switch from one Med Advantage plan to another Med Advantage plan, or they can go back to original Medicare and pick up a prescription drug plan if they are on a Medicare Advantage. And, for some reason, they're not liking it. For some reason, they made a bad decision. Maybe one of those telemarketers called them on the phone and switched their plan. And all of a sudden, they go to the doctor in January and, oops, the doctor doesn't take that plan. So there is, a way out if, some kind of mistake took place during that time.
Should be a law against these telemarketers.
Medicare is really trying to buckle down on a lot of it, which is making our job a whole lot harder, but we understand the reasons why. There's a lot of compliance that's going into place now that have not previously been in place. It is necessary, but it does make things a little bit harder. And the telemarketers are still calling. I get people every day that said, hey, somebody switched their plan. I get clients that come in here and, somebody called mom on the phone, and mom doesn't hear very well. And mom may have said something that triggered enough information over to these people for that, for them to switch their plan. So it's still happening. And all I can say to my seniors is you got to be careful when you pick up that phone. If you don't know who's on the other end, if they're calling you with an objective, so be real careful the kind of information that you're dispersing on the phone.
So you mentioned the changes earlier. What typically also, some of the changes that the beneficiaries can make?
Well, depending on what side, Medicare has, two sides of the equation, right? You can either be on original Medicare, which, is your Part A, which covers your hospitalization, Part B, which covers your doctors and, your outpatient care and so forth. But also, there's that Medicare Advantage. So, depending on people in the traditional side of Medicare can, keep their Medicare, A and B in place, and they can change their prescription drug plan. As a matter of fact, it's encouraged for you to actually do your research on prescription drug plans every year because the companies are changing. So your situation may have changed, your health may have changed, doctor may have added more prescriptions or taken away some prescriptions than they did this year. And the companies are certainly changing. They're changing their co-pays, their deductibles, their premiums, all of that. So it's really, really encouraged for people to take that annual enrollment period and certainly sit down with somebody and, and evaluate your plan to make sure you're in the best option for yourself going into the upcoming year. People who are enrolled in Medicare Advantage can use the Medicare open enrollment period to choose a different Med Advantage plan or switch back over to traditional Medicare A and B. Medicare Advantage enrollees who switch to a traditional Medicare can enroll in a Part D plan if they want, additional coverage. And one of the things I want to say is that people that do not, for whatever reason, don't sign up for a prescription drug plan when they first become eligible, when they're, turning 65 or when they're leaving employer coverage and so forth. If you don't sign up for a drug plan, if later on, some kind of health issue occurs and you realize you're spending an arm and a leg for drugs and you run and you say, I better get my Medicare Part D, my prescription drug plan. Well, there's going to be a penalty. Medicare penalizes you 1% for every month that you should have had it that you didn't. And that penalty is going to be tacked on for life. So people want to be very careful, about not signing up when they first become eligible.
I'll tell you, they haven't made it easy. It sounds complex. Yeah, it really.
It has some little, things that people need to be aware of. I mean, I see it every day where, people come in here and I've had 80-year-old husband and wife come in and, they're just getting ready to sign up for their prescription drug. They never had any health issues before. They weren't on maybe, the drugs that they were on were maybe minimal. And they were paying little or nothing for the drugs. And now they're in their 80s and they're getting all these drugs and they want their drug plan. Well, Medicare says you should have had it when you were 65. So now we're going to tack on 1% for every month that you should have had it that you didn't. And now you're 80. So what's 1% times, what is that, 15 years or something like that? It gets
compounded. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty harsh. Knowledge is power. You got to know the guidelines. I tell people, even if you're not on any drugs, get into the cheapest drug plan. I mean, we have drug plans that are $5, at least then, you never know what's going to happen with your health. You never know when the situation is going to change. So you want to make sure that whatever happens, you've put yourself in the best position.
Yeah, you also mentioned earlier that some plans are virtually free almost. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. If you sign up for Medicare Advantage, and some people sign up for the Medicare Advantage because they get the extra benefits, with Medicare Advantage, most of the plans have extra ancillary stuff. So not only does it have all of your A and B benefits, but which is in original Medicare, but it also gives you those ancillary like dental, like vision, like hearing, transportation. So you really want to, when you're trying to make those decisions, you want to sit down and you want to make sure that whoever it is that's helping you understands what your situation is, understand what your needs are. And that's the only way that we can help you make sure that you're in the plan that's going to best meet those needs. And yes, there's a lot of Medicare Advantage plans that are, that don't have a cost to the beneficiaries. There's $0 cost for those plans.
So I'm sure April must be storing some questions and that she probably wants to ask.
I really don't. She's answering a lot of the questions that I have, but we do have a question from the audience. Josephine Burgos, thank you for tuning in from Charlotte, North Carolina. She asked, do retirees have to re-enroll?
When you say retirees, are you talking about, are you, I mean, basically, if you're on Medicare, you don't have to re-enroll. Are you on an employer plan? Are you on a retiree employer plan? Is that what you're saying?
So I happen to know that this person is retired. She's a retired educator. So,
okay.
But I don't know what type of plan she's on.
Right. Because she may be with the retiree Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan and so forth, and they have their own guidelines as far as the enrollment period. I mean, more often than not, you don't have to re-enroll. You do get additional choices during their open enrollment season. So if you're on that employer plan, they will send you out a update of benefits, whether they've changed plans, they've added new plans, and you have the choice whether you want to switch plans, enroll in a different one of their plans, or you just want to do nothing and they'll just roll you over into what you had previously for the upcoming year.
So she answered, she said employer plan.
Yeah. So your employer will send you, your update of benefits and so forth, and you'll have that choice whether to change your plan with them, depending on what other options they have available, or you can just do nothing and, again, you'll just continue in your plan for the next year.
Now, I may have touched base on this last week, but I'm going to inject a little bit about Obamacare. Everybody calls it, affordable care, but I'm going to stick with the Obama for a while. So, how does that factor in terms of making it easier for a future Medicaid or Medicare recipient?
I mean, well, Affordable Care Act, ACA, Obamacare,
Right.
Really, I mean, the law came into place to help people that couldn't get insurance any other way. They didn't have employer coverage. They had serious health issues, and to just go out there and try to shop, they could be denied. Which means they wouldn't have any health care, or their premiums are so high they can't afford it anyway, which means they don't have any health care. So basically, these things came into play. Looking at your income, you do not have to qualify as far as health is concerned. We don't ask any health questions. All we do is we look at your taxable income for the upcoming year, and depending on what where you fall, that there'll be a subsidy that's applied to offset the cost of the different plans that are out there and the premiums that these plans are charging. So there's the subsidies are really good, and with the IRA, which is basically the program that Biden put in place, that gives you, your new laws and so forth. The subsidies have increased significantly. The federal poverty level has, been lowered and so forth. So, you're able to get higher subsidies. You're able to get more subsidies to offset the cost. So more people are, realizing that they could get insurance at really, really affordable rates. So I say that there should be nobody out there running around that's, running around without healthcare. Healthcare is really important. You don't know when life's going to change on you and so forth. So it behooves you to sit down and, I know there's a lot of stigma on Obamacare, affordable health care, whatever, but everybody's situation is different, and that's what you got to understand. So, and when people pick these plans, some people just go on and do it themselves, and they don't realize, your deductible is, if you have a high deductible, well, yeah, if I got to meet $9,000 and I get sick and I go to the doctor and I go to the hospital, most of that is going to come out of my pocket because I haven't met my deductible yet. So that's where people are saying, oh, it cost me this and and all of that. Obamacare stinks, this and that. I behoove you to, sit down with somebody, because again, everybody's situation is different. And if you want to go ahead and, try to get it yourself or whatever, you may be making a lot of mistakes or not looking at the full picture. So you're not maximizing on the benefits that you could be receiving. I have a lot of very low deductible plans, 200 to, lower than that, even some zero deductible plans. $0 premiums once the subsidies go into play to offset the cost and so forth. So really and honestly, there's really a lot of good options out there.
So Marlene, I'll tell you, each time you come on, you spill out this information that you're only going to get it here on WCM Live. So
I feel like I just touch on just a little bit of what I need to say, because there's just so much to all of this stuff, and people are they're making so many mistakes, not really sitting down with somebody. Guys, you got to sit down. Annual enrollment is here, October 15th to December 7th. Hopefully you have a trusted agent. Don't, just say, oh, my plan worked good this year, I'm not going to change it. Because again, the plans are changing. I'm seeing a lot of changes taking place. We as agents go to all of these broker, meetings with all of the carriers every single year, and we go over the different changes that are taking place. So, it behooves you to sit down with somebody that understands the changes and can help make sure that you're in the best plan.
Right. Absolutely. That's important. And I guess that's why it's so important for you to come back like that and kind of reiterate those different options and so forth, because it's nothing like repeatability. I mean, you can learn you learn that from the regular news that comes on TV and whatever. But that's very valuable, and because you've got, especially for the elderly, you got the elderly out there who, like you said, they can get scammed. Okay, and sometimes when you get scammed once, it's kind of irreparable. It's irreparable. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. Seniors are creatures of habit. Like whatever they're familiar with, they figure that they need to keep going. They don't want to change. Change is hard,
right?
But with some things, you really got to find somebody that you trust. And don't trust those people that are calling you on the phone. I promise you, I promise you, they're not looking out for your better interest. They're just looking to make a buck. They don't know anything about your situation. They don't know anything about your needs, and so forth. And, the other thing is, if you go with somebody, that is just selling one company and their plans, then you're doing yourself a disservice as well. You need to look for a broker that can shop for you, shop all of the different plans. There are so many good companies out there that you should not just hone in on one company and the plans that they have, because it might not be the best plan for you. Not that it's a bad company, but it may not be the best plan for you. Another company may have better plans that may meet your needs a whole lot better. So you need to sit down with a broker instead of an insurance agent that only services through one company.
Well, all right. Look, we're gonna we have to make way for the continuation of the program with another guest. Yeah. That's important information. We will make no mistake about that. So, but look, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing that information with the people who really need it. Hopefully that certain age groups are listening in and want to take you up on those things. And by you showing the importance of it is really a valuable assets to this program.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, thank you so much, and we're going to be talking again.
Thank you. Okay. I appreciate it. So I'm going to say Marlene Woodyard Insurance Group. I'm here in Conway. I'm a local broker. I work with all the major carriers. So when I sit down with you, I am absolutely looking out for your best interests. I'm a fiduciary agent that's going to make sure that the needs that you have is what we're going to look at and make sure we're addressing.
Thank you. And may God bless you. Because,
appreciate it.
And Godspeed until the next time we talk.
All right. Sounds good. April, it's good seeing you. Thank you.
Good seeing you as well. Thank you, Marlene.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Wow, April, with all this good information. Look, WCM Live, is there another place you're going to get this kind of information, by the way?
Okay. This is homegrown community news.
Homegrown. So, April, coming up next, we have something that really correlates with insurance. This is Breast Cancer Month, right? So those two kind of actually go hand in hand. Okay, we talked about insurance of possible cost of dealing with breast cancer, and now we need to talk. Going to be talking with somebody who's gone through that journey and would like to share those things. But before we do that, I'd like to share with our audience the good news that we have about getting more information from the Conway City Council. It's going to be straight from the what do you call it? I say the Twin Towers, but I think you call it something else.
The Porterfield Report.
Porterfield Report. That's what it is. And they're going to be bringing us very good news. Not what I'm not saying it's all good, but very plain news about what happened at the city council meetings and so forth. So without further ado, let's just chime in on, and she's ready too. April, we're gonna have some news there that starting next week. Because yesterday
looks like a double dose of what we need from the portfolio report. Yeah. How are y'all this evening?
Good.
All right. Smiling faces, and looks like you're happy to be here. We're happy to have you here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Brother Edward is going to kind of, he's already kind of framed it up a little bit, but he's going to explain to our audience a little bit more about what you all will be doing. And but before we do that, why don't you two introduce yourselves to our watching and listening audience?
I'm Destiny. This is Desmond, and we're the Porterfield twins.
All right.
And you are actually twins. I mean, there were. So Destiny or Desmond, you want to talk a little bit about yourself? You got at least 2 minutes, okay?
Well, we're 17. We both go to Carolina Forest High School. We do a little bit here and there. We're working for the WC magazine. We go to Friendship Missionary Baptist Church.
What grades are you in?
I'm in 12th. This is my last year in high school.
Wow, man. I didn't know that.
You guys have grown up fast. Oh my gosh. Wow.
In the summer, we do summer literacy, as y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit about it.
You have summer jobs you just mentioned that. You have some
yes, sir. We do summer jobs. This summer it was fun. I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. We the World Community Magazine, it's the WC magazine. What he was saying is that employed them, both of them at the Comedy Rec Center. Was that right?
Yes, sir.
That's right, Rec Center. And unless Destiny wants to say something further, there were good reports about you two at the job site at the Comedy Rec Center, and that I was elated over that and very impressed. And we're looking forward to the continuation of that. Is that right, Miss Destiny?
Yes, sir.
At the Rec Center.
Working at Conway Rec Center, we did a summer camp with a lot of kids, different ages, and working with them gave us like better experience of seeing like how kids act, how mature they are, and like let them do fun stuff, fun activities, and take them on field trips and get out more. So it was actually fun. I actually had fun, and we were counselors. So I had fun. It was fun.
I hear that too. Had fun working. Look, had fun working. Had fun on the job. Well, that's good.
So Desmond, you said you're a senior, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what do you plan to do after high school? Have you thought about
it? After high school, well, there was a college fair at Carolina Forest, and me and my sister, we signed up for that. And then I went to the different booths and thought about some colleges. I went over to Denmark Technical College. I went to Horry Georgetown Technical, their booth, but then we also signed up for the Coastal Carolina College Fair, so we went to that as well. And I met this lady for the welding program. That's over the welding program, and she told me to email her about everything that she needs to know about me. And I'm thinking, I know I want to do the welding, so I emailed her, and she said just email her next year before I graduate to get a seat.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can certainly say that based on your summer literacy final project and the display that you all put together, you definitely have an eye for design. So welding will definitely lead you into that. And it's a very lucrative career, and
Absolutely.
it will not take long for you to earn your certification or your associate degree, or whatever it is you're going to work towards to get that. And you mentioned Denmark Tech. Did you know that Denmark Tech is an HBCU?
Actually, when I was talking to the lady, I actually asked her that, and she told me that.
It is. It's an HBCU, and it's a technical college. So, that's two intriguing facts about Denmark Technical College. And so, sounds like you've definitely tapped into some really good schools here in South Carolina, and that's good. And what about you, Destiny? Are you thinking about your plans? You still kind of marinating on it?
Actually, I've actually thought about what I wanted to major in. I want to major in speech pathology.
Oh, excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah.
You're going to see a comment in a few minutes from a speech pathologist. She's going to send her comments.
Absolutely. You can't find a better mentor than Sister Joella McQueen. You know that, right? I know you know that. Exactly. And that's an excellent career field. You two have chosen some really good career paths. That's awesome. And I don't know how Brother Edward convinced you two to get involved with politics, but now you're going to be doing the Porterfield Report, City Council days. Yes. Tell Brother Edward, how did you do that? How did you get them involved in this?
Man, I tell you, I saw their enthusiasm about other things, and hopefully I was encouraging enough. Hopefully they liked me enough to accept my invitation.
Well, they're here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I met their parents, their grandparents also, and everybody was just elated over that idea. So I think we got two gems, GEMs, right here. We call them diamonds in the rough. All right, and they're going to be reporting for all the stuff that's happening at the Conway City Council. Because a lot of stuff, April, that we don't get a chance to hear about. I mean, even though they have it on their own TV network or whatever, but I mean, people are looking at other things, and so we're going to get it straight from the master's mouth, and put it that way.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to get a team perspective on things that are related to city council decisions, and you'll get to see how the platforms are presented, or the arguments or discussions, or whatever you call it, how city council makes their decisions, and hopefully it will help you to elevate your level of civic engagement and civic understanding, because voting is so important. Being involved in political processes, especially local political processes, they're essential to communities everywhere. And people don't always understand that. They think that the most important election is the national election, and that's so not the truth. While it is important, it's essential, we have to be careful about who we elect to not only run the country, but they're responsible for a lot of things in the world. The things that impact us the most at a local level start at these local city council levels and county council levels. And so the national politicians aren't really concerned about our sidewalks and our flood mitigation and downtown redevelopment and all of this good stuff, all of that local level. So you will learn a lot, and I'm sure that you're eager to get in there. When we were talking over the summer about some of the things that you all learned through your summer studies, Desmond and Destiny both gave some great insight into what they learned. Do y'all remember what y'all studied over the summer?
We studied
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet
Tubman. You studied Harriet Tubman, and you gave some great insight about that history. And so, and how it even applies to things that are going on today, the stuff that's right. And so, I think it's great. And, Brother Edward is good for bringing in the young people at this level. I think he will be our third correspondence, and the first time we've had twins, so a set of correspondents. And we like the Porterfield report. We don't know where this is going. Y'all might have something there.
I'm serious.
Y'all might have something there.
I'm looking for big things, man. I tell you, from the Porterfield report.
The Porterfield report, exactly. So
you're gonna be so serious that when you come on the next time, you're not even gonna be smiling, okay? You just you're not even gonna be smiling. You're gonna
right.
All right.
I can't believe they said that in city council. Like, can you can't believe this is what we're talking about. It's great though. I'm glad you all are, getting involved. And so Brother Edward, let the audience know how often we expect to have the Porterfield report so that people will know when they need to tune in.
Yeah, the city council meetings are every the first and the third Mondays out of the month. So immediately after the Tuesday following that meeting, or the day after the meeting, we would like to, or we're going to say to our audience that the Porterfield report will be displayed, or you all can then. I'm getting my words mixed up here, so they'll be reporting on the city council of what happened on that Monday. And because of course you'll be on that Tuesday, okay? And this will happen. You all will be on the first and the third Tuesdays of that month, okay?
Okay. All right. And listen, right. I encourage you to be as creative as you want to be, as long as you're reporting the facts and what you learned at the meetings. Because sometimes, do you remember Brother McCullough?
Yes, right. Right.
He used to give it to us in his own way. He had a style and his own flair as far as, how he delivered the report. So it would be great to see how you all comprehend what you're hearing and how you, your level of understanding of what the city council members had to discuss and make decisions on. So we can't wait to hear it. I'm ready for it.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you all for being with us tonight, introducing the Porterfield Report with Desmond and Destiny Porterfield. We love it. That sounds good. That sounds good. I know Miss McIver, if she's watching, she's probably smiling really big right now. So, So thank you all for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Looking forward. I think next week is the week now, because that's what next Monday is when the city council meeting. So next Tuesday, we expect to see you all next Tuesday.
Yes.
7 p.m. All right.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
God bless. Godspeed. Okay, April.
The Porterfield report. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Porterfield. Not bad. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
We promised our audience about the breast cancer survivor's journey. That was Miss Clarice Hemingway, Umstead.
Mm-hmm.
And she has some interesting things to share with our audience tonight. And we think it's going to be important. So I'm bracing to hear that.
Miss Clarice, are you ready?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
All right.
On the show, you and Edward tonight.
All right.
Hopefully it'll be interesting to some people. But I consider this my journey that I had to go through. Cancer doesn't have restriction on age group or anything. I mean, at 74, I never would have thought that I would have been having breast cancer. But here I am. I'm trying to get this focus right.
Yes, ma'am.
But I did do annual breast mammograms, and I, encourage people, no matter what your age, even if you're older and you think, oh, well, I made it this far, nothing's going to happen, so I'm not going to bother with it anymore. You're always hearing people say, well, it hurts and I don't want to be bothered and I don't want to do this and everything. But I encourage you to still, go and have your mammograms done, because I did have one done in 2022. Right. And March of 2023, I went and first thing they said is, well, let's have the doctor look at this. And then when they came back, they said, the doctor came in and he said, well, we want you to go have a sonogram. So I said, okay, but I did have something similar in 2011, but it was nothing. So, of course, you feel, well, it's gonna be the same outlook. It'll probably be nothing. And when they came back uh, on my birthday, which is April 3rd, I was going to see a surgeon. So but I was very lucky because it was from one year to the next year, and it was very small. But it is very important that either you do self examination on your breast, or you do your yearly mammograms. Um, like myself, a lot of women are older women that have had children or whatever. You have what they consider as lumpy breasts, or you have, you know, a lot of women have cysts in their breasts or whatever. So when you do self-examination, sometimes you think you're feeling something, but it's not, because it could be just a cyst that you have. So you should definitely, every year have your examinations done.
So your and you don't have to talk about the in depth about any procedures that were done or anything, but
Hmm.
can you share, or can you elaborate on the procedures to after you found out that you had these lumps or whatever?
Well, with me, after they did the sonogram, and then I had to go to a surgeon. And then once you go to the surgeon, in my case, it was very small, so they couldn't feel anything. But they had to do a biopsy to tag the area that they had to operate on. But most of the time, you know, if it's larger, or if you're in, say, stage 2 or stage 3, definitely stage 4, um, you probably wouldn't have to go to be tagged. It would, because the cancer itself would probably be more larger or more profound, that you wouldn't have to do that. But in my case, because it was so small, um, I had to go through different steps. And by one important thing, if you do go, when you have your mammograms, and if they find something in the next year when you go back, what's more important is that not only that it's small or whatever, if you do have to go through chemo, which I did have to do, um, the chemo won't be so extensive. Like you hear people say, well, I had to have 10 treatments, 12 treatments, or whatever, because when you go there, like I said before, cancer doesn't discriminate in age, it doesn't discriminate in color. You see so many people there, young, old, medium, that they're there getting treatment, and you get to meet different people, hear their story, why or what happened. But with me, I was very lucky. I only had to have 4 treatments of the chemo, and then from there, I had to go through radiation. Radiation is not as bad as chemo, because chemo, you're putting all of these different chemicals in your body. So, of course, your body is going to act at first resisting it, because it's not used to you having that kind of stuff put in it. But, it's like I say again, it's very important to have mammograms done yearly, so you could definitely be ahead of the problem instead of behind it.
So it was small enough to warrant smaller doses of chemo. You're saying,
Right,
right?
right, right. Uh huh. Yes.
And you wouldn't have noticed that had you not
I
had your.
wouldn't know, like say, say if I just said last year, okay, um, I'm 73, they didn't find anything, so I'm not gonna do it next year, or I'll do it every 2 years instead of doing it every year. Well, the longer you wait, by waiting, if you did have something, the longer you wait, of course, when you do go back, it could be larger,
Yeah.
could have stayed the same size. You never know. It depends on, I think, the person, or what you're putting in your body, because you never know what you're fueling cancer with. You
Right.
know, our food now have so many different chemicals and stuff in it that you never know if what you're going to eat or what you're eating or what you're drinking could be something that triggers it and make it grow larger, or or stay the same. You really don't know. So that's a chance that you take if you like want to wait and not do yearly but every other year, or just say, I'm at that age where I don't want to do it anymore, so I'm gonna stop,
Right.
because I did have another person that I knew that was behind me that actually found out that they had breast cancer the same time that I was dealing with it, and they were in their 80s. So, you never
Really?
know. Yeah.
Well, you sound like
She
you.
opted out not to have the chemo because of the fact that she was well up in her 80s. But she did have the surgery and she had the radiation.
Was it successful?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you sound the way you've been talking sounds like you've done your research.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. You've done a lot
it's
of
like
reading up on it.
anything, like you don't want to hear that you have it, of course.
Right.
But when you do find out, it's good to read up on it and find out what's going on with you, and and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask your doctor questions, because I found out that they were giving me two different kinds of chemo, and then I wanted to know why I had to have the two different kinds. It's just that with the way medicine is now today, they try to give you different ones. Like one is actually chemo, the other one could be something that's keeping you from getting infections, or keeping you from being nauseous or something like that. So, but you have to ask questions to find out what they're actually giving you.
So it sounds to me like you had the doctor busy. I mean, didn't
Well,
he get perturbed by you asking all these questions?
hey, you paying, so you might as well ask questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Going on. Yeah.
So I get, yeah, and you encourage people to uh,
I
um,
encourage people to definitely go have their yearly mammograms. I'm holding this pad, and every time it gets heavy, it falls over. But yeah,
okay.
I do encourage people to go have their yearly mammograms.
So
Young and old.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So well, look, I'm glad to know that you've had the kind of wherewithal to move on that once you've um, been getting your mammogram and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
and keep a positive attitude,
yeah.
because that means a lot. You know.
Um, how were you feeling when they said they spotted something the first time? Were you scared?
Um, the first time, a little bit, yes. Back in 2011, I was, because my mother at the time did have cancer, and she passed the following year, was 2012. But my brother also had breast cancer. He survived from that, but he had a lot of side effects that leaded into, and that's another thing. That's why I say you have to ask questions to find out what's you are putting in your body or what they're giving you. Because with him, he survived breast cancer, but from the side effects in the medicine that he was receiving, he then developed another form of cancer, leukemia. So, he didn't pass from the breast cancer, but he did, pass from something else. So you have to ask the doctors what's going on, or what they're doing, what they're giving you, what the procedure is, what's the next step after you find out that you do have it. Like, okay, I have it, so now what are we going to do next? So that's very important. But when I found out the first time, I was a little nervous. But then after they did the biopsy and they said everything was clear, then that was good. So this time when they said they found something, naturally my mind went back to like, oh, it's not going to be anything. It'll be like what it was in 2012 or 2011. But then after I found out it was very small and stage 1, I really wasn't nervous after that.
All right. So it never left stage 1.
No, it didn't. No.
But you were encouraged anyway to go get chemo and radiation.
Well, a lot of time. Well, with me, they did a sample of the blood test. Now I'm sure they do this with everybody, not just with me. But she did sample of blood tests, and you do get a report back, which is called a RS rating, and that's your rate for reoccurrence. It's a reoccurrence rating, and my reoccurrence rating, according to the doctor, was what she felt was high because it was 28%. In which they said that it could reoccur in like 9 years. So that's why they wanted to give me the chemo and the radiation. Okay. So you have to be careful about that too, because I do know people that had breast cancer and they had the operation and then it came back. So you have to be careful about your rating too.
Okay. Well, I don't see any comments, any more comments anyway from people, but whomever listening tonight, I'm sure they got information that they will know what to do if they're a victim of this, and at the stage that you were talking about. And I'm sure they should be adhering to the encouragement of going to get a mammogram. I don't know any statistics that I know about the percentage of people who decline to do that or whatever, yeah. Don't do it regular. But anyway,
I don't know the actual numbers, but it's very high in the African American community.
All right. Okay. So look, we're going to all I can say is Godspeed, and I'm glad that you've gone through that process, and hopefully we're talking about a normal journey from here on out.
Yes.
Here on out. Okay. So to our audience, we thank Ms. Clarice Hemingway Olmsted for sharing this with us. And I was about to say, you can come back on again, but hopefully you will have gotten past all this.
That's right. Hopefully it won't be again.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you much, and Godspeed.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good night. So, April, well, we had a host of information here tonight that, as usual, on WCM Live. it's been a day. And to our audience, thank you so much for listening in. So on behalf of all the people that of our guests tonight, and especially, well, not so much special more than anybody else, but our report, our Porterfield report, which I'm expecting. Hopefully that's going to be very touching for people next week. Okay, so if you have nothing else no remarks, April, say good night.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.